crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Happy Friday. I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and I'm back. Hello. Oh, I love Fridays. How's everybody doing today? Hit the like button on your way in. I see a few new faces here today from the UK, from northern BC, Canada. I see my girl Foxy. 420's coming upon us, yo. How's everybody doing today? I'm in California, so it's raining a little, no snow. Liv, how's it going? Man, today we're talking about Stephan Sterns, and did he sell Maddie's CSAM? Did he sell other CSAM? Who were those other pictures? Who were the other people in the pictures? The 1,700 and then 35,000. We're going to dive into Telegram activity, bad habits, and money of Stephan Sterns. And of course, we're going to always talk about other things like Jenn Soto, her involvement, what you think. Hello, Patty from Vegas. How's everybody doing? Krista, good to see you back. Hit the like button on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't. Sunday, we're having a members only live. So get your membership. And if you have the means to donate, super chat, super stickers, and below, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. You know, I have something that I just got today. I got some new audio, and I cannot believe, I can't even believe what I'm hearing here, because this is not the topic today, but it's audio from this Madeline Soto case. And at this point, I probably would. Well, first, I want to thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you. I'd probably bet my car keys on it at this point that Maddie was not pregnant. This audio is audio from friends of hers at the birthday party. And yeah, you heard that right. I would say, even without it coming out, friends from the birthday party that say that Maddie started her period in the end or at the end of January, which means she was due at the end of February when her life was taken. So, although I don't have the paperwork yet, I'm absolutely going to bet my car keys Monday we're going to listen to the audio. I have the audio right now, but that's not the topic. It's not the topic. Yeah, not pregnant. She had her period. Her friends, I have audio of the interview from her friends that talk about all her other friends that were at the birthday party that say Maddie started her period at the end of January. So that means at the end of February, when her life was taken, that her period either just started or was about to start. So you can't tell me. I mean, we're going to hear this audio eventually, right? You're going to hear this audio. So that means what Jack Stormo just said. So I'd bet my car on it. Again, I have new audio for you folks, but today we're talking about the CSAM, and thanks to Watts the Obsession. I wouldn't say that. I've never said that I had the moment. I've never said pregnancy was the motive. I've always thought it was jealousy. I've always thought it was jealousy by Stephan Sterns and by Jenn Soto. What's up, Em? How you doing? My girl, Scary Sherry, Olivia, Molina. Yeah, I have audio that says it all. The audio couldn't couldn't be any clearer. Avis, you always thought she started, but we never heard that until now. So that audio is like blows me away, because that tells you right there there's no possible way that before her life was taken, if she had already had her period, it hadn't even been a month when her life was taken, that she had it again. So yeah, for the love of 192, I can't wait. Madeline was not pregnant. I've been saying that, but I don't have anything until you hear the audio. I never thought it was. I never thought it was. I had the moment. I've never thought that. I absolutely, nowadays you can go get an abortion anywhere. If you can't get it legally, you can go to the black market and go get an abortion. You can go get a morning after pill. You can go get a pill that dissolves the baby. And I hate to say it like that, but I've seen it happen. Okay, so I'm just saying, yeah, peace with her, sweet angel, like all the angels. Yes, yes. I don't know how to say that M, but I'm going to say yes. So happy Friday. Poor baby girl. We're going to follow the money. It's bad enough that Stephan Sterns and Jenn Soto were probably making money from the CSAM. That's bad enough. And then you start thinking about the other gruesome things that could have happened with a home pregnancy, some people tend to say. You start thinking about that and you're like, wow, what horrific things would have happened. All right. Manda K says Tyler loved her. Jen's family loved her. Now SS loved her. Everyone Jenn wanted, loved, and cared for Maddie, so that pissed her off. Oh, I'm sure. You start thinking about the Woody Allen situation, and that tells you right there that she had a fear of Madeline, which you see that little girl. Look at that picture. How could you be jealous of that little angel? That I hate that picture though. That picture of her sitting on Stephan Sterns' shoulders in the pool tells me right there that he was grooming her from day one. And it is weird, crazy cat lady, that they were monitoring it so closely. Who monitors their child's period if they're not active? All right. So hello everybody. What's up? Come on in, strap in. Let's get into a deep conversation. Get some memberships, get the likes up, share, all that stuff. Let's help this community get to 20,000 and then 50 and then 100, because we deserve it, right? We all do hard work. Everybody works hard at all times. So I want to thank everybody, thank the mods, thank Watts the Obsession for digging deep into this. And today we're doing this.
At my house, I mean, he definitely had an Adderall addiction, you know.
Stephan Sterns,
of course, has to do with the tragic case of Madeline Soto. And
now we're talking about Stephan Sterns having an Adderall addiction. That was the first thing that just came out. Stephan Sterns definitely had an Adderall addiction. Was he taking Jen's Adderall, Maddie's Adderall, plus his Adderall? Was he snorting Adderall? Is that why that guy was sleeping all the time? Because he did a bunch of Adderall and then he was coming down and then he took a bunch of pills that zonked him out. Jenn was as much Granny Bass Master. Yes, I agree. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm sure he was a speed freak that was up doing sexual activity while everybody else was sleeping. That's what he was thinking about: filming, trading, and selling. That's what I believe. All right, let's listen.
And the poor girl, her tragic life ended just after she turned 13, allegedly at the hands of her mother, Jenn Soto's ex-boyfriend, I guess we would call him. As we're going to hear Stephan Sterns' parents, Chris and Deb, say in an interview segment that I'm going to play, Jenn and Stephan were in a dysfunctional, lazy, on-again, off-again relationship for 7 or 8 years. You'll hear exactly what they have to say about that.
All right, and let me just tell you, today we're listening to different cuts of the interview. We're listening to different cuts from here and there to piece together everything that we talk about all the time. So when we have a conversation, if we could have a conversation and I can just pull something out of the air and say, remember this, now listen to it. Remember this, hear that. That's what we're doing today. There's so many conversations that we talk about, but they're not right at our fingertips where I can just throw them at you. So that's what we're doing. Next week, I'm going to do that with 3 different audios. We finally have Yolanda. We get to hear from her. What's up, Mike Breeze? How you doing? Pink Banjo, good to see you. So Yeah, Monday we have 3 audios, 1 of Maddie's friends, 2 of another friend talking about the birthday party, and then Yolanda. Now I have much more audio, but those are the 3 that we're going to play on Monday. All right, so let's get into the conversation. Let's start with this one.
Stephan Sterns allegedly took Maddie's life, and he is currently awaiting first-degree murder charges for that offense, as well as a whole host of CSAM charges due to horrific images that were found of he and Maddie on his phone, and then 35,000 CSAM images that were found on a device in his dad's storage unit. This case is just so absolutely horrifying. But what we're going to look at today is where exactly did Stephan Sterns' money come from? By all accounts, the man is a deadbeat, totally lazy, sleeps all day, vapes, smokes pot, and takes whatever medications, and he cannot hold down a job. There isn't anybody who knows him.
All right, do me a favor. Get your memberships on. I just gifted 5 memberships. And if anyone in here has the means to match me, please do. Let's get as many people to get memberships for this Sunday, because this members only is going to be very interactive with you guys. In your opinion, as mothers, as parents, you gotta be in on this. You gotta know what is going on. So get your memberships. Kimmy, thank you so much for the $2. There we go. We're on a train. Woo, woo. I start out with the 5 and you gave the 2. Thank you so much. All right, let's go. Again, if you could drop the Watts the Obsession link, that'd be fantastic. And thank you all. Bernice, I hope you get a membership today. I'm trying to get as many as I can for this weekend. All right, let me go a little bit faster on here. I talk a lot faster than some people, so I always like to speed it up.
Who says differently. It's a fact. His parents say it. Jenn says it. His friends say it. His ex-girlfriends say it. And it is just a fact. He can't hold down a job. Yet he has some very expensive hobbies. He's painting Warhammer figurines and collecting Tamagotchis and these Locana cards and some other things that he and Jenn Soto and his parents talk about him doing that cost a lot of money.
Okay.
First of all, when I heard about these things, Warhammer and Tamagotchi and Locana cards, I honestly didn't even know what they were. So I had to look into it. And if you don't know what they are, I'm going to show you exactly what they are, how much they cost, and we are going to do a deep dive into the question, where did Stephan Sterns get his money from? How did he make his money? Many speculate that the answer to that question is just one of the horrifying pieces of the puzzle that so sadly made up Madeline Soto's experience over the past several years while Stephan Sterns was allowed into her life. We're going to take a look at Telegraph, the end-to-end encryption service that some believe Stephan Sterns may have been utilizing to sell the images that were stored on his devices.
Now, I love this deep dive that Kelly always does, because she digs in. She's stuck on Watts Island, Watts the Obsession. She's been covering that for 5-6 years, and she goes really deep and puts all the pieces together. Today, I promised her that I would react to her video. I love that. I'm still new here on YouTube, but I have such an awesome community of creators that I work with. So I appreciate that. Sweet Caroline, member for 6 months. You're awesome. How do I gift? You just go onto your phone, or if you're on the computer, hit the little $sign and hit gift membership. Thank you. Or you can put out like a super chat and I'll gift one for you. Whatever you want to do. All right. Oh, I'm sure they're selling pictures. That's what we're going to talk about today, Michelle. I guarantee you that they were selling pictures with all of the pictures that were going around. Yeah, Watts Island is good. It's crazy, and it has the most up-to-date information. Believe it or not, there's still more information that comes in for the Chris Watts case. As a matter of fact, I have some Chris Watts jail calls that are video calls with his parents I want to play for you at some point. We just started Ashton Lee, so buckle up. Scary Sherry, very happy Friday. I hope you're ready for Thanksgiving. Thank you for the $9.99 super sticker. All right, let's go. Ashton, you're right on time. All right. Thank you. We're talking about a deep dive into Telegram activity and Stephan's money.
Telegram collects far less data than the other apps we've discussed. The only thing they will disclose is that for confirmed terrorist investigations, Telegram may disclose the user's IP address and phone number. No messages, no address books, nothing.
We are also going to take a look into the question, did Jenn Soto know what was going on, or did she not know what was going on?
All right.
That's
It's just
Tuesday.
surprising that somebody that was there during the death and probably responsible for it certainly participated and hasn't been arrested. In talking to Stephan, obviously he's not telling us much because he's under the instructions of his attorney. But he said something kind of odd that we've been, my wife and I have been kind of kicking back and forth, and he made a statement that said, I didn't start it. Getting to the chase, I think they were involved in some sort of criminal enterprise.
Now, that is a clip from an interview in July of 2024, months after Madeline Soto's body was found. And we're going to return back to it. But first, let's listen to a clip from an interview in March of 2024, right after Madeline Soto's body was found.
All right. I love that his parents cited that. They cited the what Jenn said, that she can't risk it, and other things that we called out. Lisa, thank you. I just gifted a membership for you. And thanks again, Sweet Caroline, for the 1999 super sticker. I appreciate you guys all. You guys have no idea how much this helps, especially right now. It's raining outside. We had to put another tarp on our roof. And I want you to know, I still don't have a roof or ceilings, and it's raining outside. So all of this helps. It's appreciated. I can't really spend any money because in case I come up short, I need a new roof and a new house, but the insurance is a nightmare, and one day I'll probably share it with you. So thank you guys so much. Everything is, especially right now during the holidays. I appreciate it. Nope, not today. I'm watching for green. I hope you get one. I just gifted another one. Thanks to, who just gifted that? It was Lisa Lynn that gifted you that. So thank you.
And right after, Stephan Sterns was charged with first-degree homicide.
So, any idea how long Stephan and Jenn have been in a relationship?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
Somewhere there.
Okay. And was it constant throughout those 7 and 8 years, or on and off, or?
They were friends first, close friends first, and then it evolved into a romantic relationship. I think probably the first 18 months was just friendship, and then it changed from there. And no, we did not like the relationship.
Why not?
Didn't approve of it.
No.
Why?
She was bad influence on it because of her
Drugs.
well, drugs plus I think she was taking medications for depression, anxiety, what have you, and I just didn't feel that she was going to be a good influence on her.
She's bipolar. She's bisexual. She's a drug addict. She had a young child. The family was disapproving.
She's bipolar, she's bisexual, and she's a drug addict. Yeah, I do gotta throw up the potato. We gotta get in the trigger warning. It's really I don't even know what the word is. I really don't understand why Stephan's parents knew as much as they did. How did they know that much? How did they know that she was bisexual? How did they know about all the drugs? And why are they telling us that Maddie was in a predicament that wasn't safe with Jenn and Stephan and them sleeping together? But yet their son ended up taking her life and abusing her for probably 7 of the years that they're talking about. All right, here's the trigger warning. Happy 420 to Foxy Amazon. You nailed it right on 420. Yeah, how? You guys, Anna, yes. How the heck did they know? How did they know that? But I can't with them or any of them. Why is that? Let's keep listening.
And she was sharing those drugs with Stephan. And I don't approve of vaping. We don't do any drugs. We don't even drink. I can't even take specified medication for pain because my body rejects them, and I get really, really sick from them. So, I mean, went through open heart surgery, no Tylenol.
Wow.
So it's
And they were both,
She's
they slept all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, we had a hard enough time dealing with Stephan sleeping all the time, and now he's got a relationship with somebody else that does it as well. It's just like they were feeding off of each other, and none of it in a positive way. And that's why I disapprove of a lot of Stephan's
Well, that's the only
people.
thing, only thing her mother and I approved of together was the fact that we didn't approve of the relationship, because if Jen started spiraling down, when her holes of depression, she took Stephan with him.
Mm-hmm.
If he was depressed, he brought her in. And it was just always.
I believe that they fed off of each other, but I don't believe that one was more depressed than the other. I don't believe that. I believe that they were both sick and twisted. And the more I watched this and listen to these, I truly believe that Jenn was involved in the grape and taking of her daughter's life. I do believe that she was there in bed when Stephan was doing things to her. I believe that she condoned it. She looked the other way. I don't think because they're saying that. Yeah, and that's fine, Lisa. I never think Jen's innocent, but I do think that she was a lot more heavily involved and that she condoned that. Now, her being bisexual doesn't have anything to do with Maddie's taking of her life. I think the parents are just shaming her right now, trying to put the blame on her. Someone's attraction shouldn't be mentioned. I agree. I'm the first one that would say that. I'm in the community. I have a wife I'm married to, right? I'm with you. I'm all about that. Don't want to be blamed because of my sexuality. But Bernice Jones, I think she's involved, and I think they were just trying to use that as a way to shame her, or maybe insinuate that she was also involved in the graping of her daughter. I think they were trying to say that. All right, let's keep going.
Like a balancing act with those two. This is not good. It's not a good dynamic.
You know, when you said they were always sleeping, like constantly,
Yeah.
were they taking medicine to go sleeping, or they were just?
They were faked out.
Yeah. Well, Stephan has a sleeping disorder, sleep apnea. So he's been tested for it, and his he would be up all night and sleep all day.
Okay.
Type of deal. And we really didn't have that much physical interaction with them.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that we just observed from a distance, and trying to talk to Stephan at times, but we just really didn't have any social activity with him to speak of.
I agree with that too, Dominica, that Jenn being bisexual would show that her relation with Stephan wasn't not only romantic, but maybe there was a gruesome business relationship. I agree with that part of it. I agree that she wasn't physically attracted to Stephan, and he wasn't physically attracted to her. That's why the first 18 months when he didn't say, "Hey, baby, come on, Jenn," he was really just pining after and grooming Maddie. But she said, "Hey, how about we hook up?" And he said, sure, why not? She was more interested in the women that she hung out with, her best friend, and she was going to different kind of LGBT and parades. I think she was interested in women much more than she was with Stephan Sterns, and I can understand why.
When Stephan would be here in town, like what would his routine be? Is he a homebody, or?
He locked himself in his room, and we would see him maybe once in a while until dinner's ready, but he was constantly in his room all the time.
He was painting his little minis for Warhammer. He spent a lot of time doing that. A lot of time learning the new books as they came out. A lot of time online.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for the $9.99 super sticker. Happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. Now, I think at night he was trading pictures. I think that he was on Telegram. Many people do that in the later hours, or if he was trading with people from other countries, what have you. I think he was up at night taking pictures, abusing Maddie, trading pictures, selling, and he was really heavily into CSAM and PORN, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was why he slept all day and was up all night. That's a lot of what you do. Clar, good to see you. We just got started.
He did go play Warhammer a week. Tried to get him to go to the beach, tried to get him to go to church, tried to get him to go shooting with us. No.
Did he give an excuse why that he wouldn't want to
Feel
go?
like it.
Just no motivation.
And he walked around with Jen on the phone on FaceTime all the time. I would be in the kitchen, I would look up and I would see Jen, and she's like, and I look at her and her eyes are also, I said, Jen, are you baked? And she says, oh yeah. I'm like,
And this is recently or throughout
that
the
was in
years?
the last few weeks, yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't, I brought him back in December because I was supporting him living there, and I didn't know that I was supporting the whole family.
Mhm.
Again, Stephan's great at omitting information, not being transparent with me. And when I said to him, I can't afford to have you working for Disney.
Mhm.
And there's always a deficit in his budget for one reason or another, but somehow he had expensive toys and what have you, and where the money came for that, he needed it after he arrived here. Packages were arriving. I said, well, I'm not giving him any money. Where the hell is it, Stephan? It's money I saved. And I said, you're going, Bohica. You know what Bohica is? It's an acronym. Bend over, here it comes again.
Mhm.
And, he called me up and said, well, I'm short of funds. Can you, sell me $150, send him that. But meanwhile, now he's telling me he's got money in savings, which I didn't believe.
Mhm.
So where the money was coming from, I have no idea. But these packages just kept arriving.
When you would support,
We got to know that Jen was on disability. Stephan was only getting about $600 a month from his parents. Jen had a small income, and she only had a small income at the very end. Now, we do know for sure that she scammed the COVID money. She scammed it, and then she closed her business and said it didn't work. She also stole $16,000 from the GoFundMe for Maddie. So I want you to know that she was a scammer. She's a huge scammer, and I think both of them were scamming, selling those things, and they got a lot of prescriptions. They did get a lot of prescriptions, but they were probably buying it when they ran out as well. So, like I said, Jen holds a big part of that key. She had 2 prescriptions coming in on a regular basis for her and Maddie, and I'm sure that I almost would bet my life on it that Stephan was snorting those Adderall and getting them in his face any way that he could. All right, Potato of how much he resembles Mr. Chucky Potato Head. That's right. All right, and thank you, Anna Gregor, for being a member. They haven't arrested Jenn Soto, because why? Well, go back and watch, because we talked about that on the last episode, or 2 episodes ago. 444, say a prayer for Maddie. Yes, she stole Maddie's entire GoFundMe that was supposed to be for funeral services and burial, and that's why all the other GoFundMes never took off, because she took them. And so people were skeptical, and they said, no, let's hold off on opening any GoFundMes for Tyler to come out, even though he should pay for himself. I'm not saying that, but any other money that would have went to the ladies like Jenny and the advocates to help manage the memorial, they got scrapped because she stole the money, and no one wanted to go towards that. They didn't know who was or who was behind it and what. So yeah, she's a thief. She's a junkie. I don't think her being bisexual has anything to do with her being a thief and a junkie. So let's get that out of your heads, because that I would never say that. Me of all people would not say that.
or how would you get him money?
I sell it.
Okay.
And I paid him, Juan charged Jen rent, and then in November of 2022, the reason why I know that, because I looked it up the other day. I said, how far back have I been paying rent there? But he started charging Stephan rent, even though he was sharing a room with Jen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided that they weren't going to be in a relationship anymore, and he took over a full room, and now I had to pay $600. And so this just kept escalating. He wasn't taking care of his car.
So did you hear that? Dad thinks that he was funding anything. He wasn't really funding anything but probably their drug habit, to be honest with you. $600 Jen was charging Stephan's dad for a room. but he slept with Maddie and Jenn almost the entire time, and then gave Maddie a half room. And if you looked at Stephan's room, it literally looks like a brothel house that had nothing in it. It was like a motel. Nothing was on the counters. Nothing was on the dresser. It was a bed, a stand, and he had a camera set up, or a little thing to hold the camera. I can't even think of a phone stand, so that he could record the CSAM that he was recording in that room. That room was probably just used for the abuse and for the filming and for the CSAM pictures. Yes, Pink Banjo Jenn took the GoFundMe money, over $16,000. And we recently just found out that she scammed COVID money. She opened up an LLC, got the COVID money, and then shut the COVID or the LLC down and said it didn't work out. So, yes, right there. You heard it. We've been talking about it for a long time. And yes, it's proven that she's the one that was behind that. And she took it, and it didn't go towards Maddie's anything.
No, I was waiting for that shoe to drop. So finally, I said, I can't afford you to live there anymore. And I moved him back here. Mm-hmm. And I thought, we had hoped that the year that he had spent at Disney, that he had matured and was now, accepting responsibility and had a disciplined routine, and that I could bring him back here and help him maybe develop into something with a better career path than working for Disney forever and not getting anywhere, because at $30,000 a year, he couldn't support himself if he wanted to live on his own.
Right.
And that turned out to be a huge disappointment, because he fell right back into his same MO. Lock himself in his room, wouldn't help us around the house. And we were like on eggshells, because when he was here, it was always tension because of his sleep disorder, and the dogs obviously are not the quietest things. Right. And, they have their routine. We have our routine. So we let them out in the evening, and it's chaos with them. We let them out in the morning, it's chaos. But for the most of the time, they're at feeding time, they're quiet. Mm-hmm. But again, that would disturb him, and didn't want to cause a flare up with him.
Okay,
Thank
so
you
there
so
in
much.
that interview clip, Stephan Sterns.
All right, we're going to go back on that real quick. Super sticker, overprotected, 1111. At the same time, say a prayer for Maddie, $3.99 super chat. But because we see the 111, which is an angel number, thank you guys. We have 486 people in chat. If you can do me a favor, it's free to just hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. We have a lot of good episodes coming up. Like I said earlier, we have new audio coming out that talks about Maddie and from her friends and the birthday party. And the friends will tell you that Maddie did start her period, y'all. She did start her period. She wasn't late. She eventually started, and she would have had it again if her life wouldn't have been taken. So it wasn't even a month that she had it. So you can scrap that Maddie's pregnant thing and the whole motive. The motive's probably jealousy, or it could have been that she was overdosed that night and Stephan strangled her. Maybe it wasn't even on purpose, or maybe Jenn helped. Maybe she did it because of her jealousy. We don't quite know yet, but we'll get that as things unfold and more documents are released.
His parents, Deb and Chris, acknowledge his horrible habits, that he could not hold down a job, that he just slept all day. They said he had sleep apnea, so he was up all night, slept all day, which I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but to me, that is not characteristic of sleep apnea. Well, I did a little research of it. It doesn't seem to be a characteristic of sleep apnea. Yeah. And, his father says, I was selling him money. He's like, I need $150 here. I need $150 there. He owns up to, supporting this deadbeat.
Yeah.
When he really, should have said, hey, son, launch, get out of my house, get a job, support yourself. You're 37 years old, for Christ's sake, right?
Exactly.
But, even acknowledging that, Stephan Sterns' parents themselves asked the big question.
Big question. The really big question out there. All of that stuff on the computer, all of that stuff on his phone, all of the money that was coming in by the handfuls and the way they were spending it. Where did it come from? And could she, obviously she also participated in spending the money. So do you think she was?
Before we get into that, what they're talking about, Susie Akers, I got to say that whole coin thing, I don't think that it holds weight about her being pregnant at all. I don't think that holds weight when a girl's friends tell you, hey, Maddie said she was late, and then it started and you're hearing it from the family. I think the coin thing was literally fantasy world with Maddie being groomed by Stephan and her saying, oh, we need to get this. So later on, I'm sure Stephan had her groomed to the T, and Maddie thinking that she was going to have a life later on with Stephan when she was 18. But at some point, she probably got tired of the things he was doing to her. I just don't see that holding a bunch of weight. I don't see that being a factor in her pregnancy or non-pregnancy. What's up, Christy 25? I don't know why the parents didn't say anything. I really believe that Chris Sterns knew that Stephan was into child P. I do believe that. Absolutely. I think he knew when he talked about the hard drive that was in his garage. He knew it was there the whole time. I can't believe that he didn't know. And remember, his parents paid to get him out of things. Debbie Stearns paid for him not to get arrested when he was taking pictures of or he was filming his old roommates way back when. So they knew.
Was at all culpable?
Very suspicious that there was some sort of enterprise going on. And of course, police won't tell us anything about that. That was one conversation or question I had with them. And it almost sounded like they acknowledged Stephan and eliminated Jenn, but something definitely was going on, and I haven't been able to figure that out. But I feel there's something else out there.
Interesting, right? One of the major enduring questions of this case is, did Jenn Soto have any guilty knowledge of what was going on? And if so, what exactly did she know? It seems that Chris Sterns' parents are implying that there was some kind of criminal enterprise. I do believe they mean perhaps selling the images that were found on his devices, and that Jenn Soto was somehow in cahoots with that, which I don't know if.
Now, I don't know if they're going to have evidence to directly connect her, but she was living off a bunch of that money and providing a room that looked like it was for filming purposes. Now, I do believe Maddie thought they were in a secret relationship. Absolutely, at some point, we saw that he was grooming her, and we heard that they would text each other all day. Now, you guys can decide for yourselves about anything you want to decide for yourselves when we listen to the audio on Monday and you hear her friend clearly saying Maddie started her period at the end of January. She said it was late, but it started now. You make up your mind. I don't have a piece of paper that says Maddie's not pregnant, but I'm just telling you about the new audio that I have that we're not listening to today because I didn't get it until I already had planned this episode. So it's up to you. You guys can decide. You can hold whatever weight to whatever information that you guys want to. I present it. You guys decide what you think. I'm not going to try to change anybody's mind.
If we have any information that would imply that that is so, maybe that will come out eventually. But the sad thing is, as we all know, Stephan Sterns' presence in Maddie's life was a detriment to her mental well-being. Here in this next interview clip, Jenn Soto is talking about, some behavioral problems she perceived in Maddie, and then says, but it was getting better when Stephan moved back to Northfield with his parents. And then listen to what she has to say. And these investigators, they are trying so hard. They're like, does Stephan Sterns do anything worthwhile? Does he walk? Does he use his own two legs? Does he have any habits that are actually physical? And they strike out.
Over the last few months, got even better when Stephan moved out and went to Northport. Maddie and I were actually seeing a therapist together to try to work through our issues because we were having problems communicating.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, Lori, yes.
So, Stephan, tell me about his. I know you say he likes.
Now, we're actually talking about Stephan Sterns and did he sell CSAM? What I'm saying, and I'm not saying there's evidence of it, what I'm saying is Jenn Soto, what may have been indirectly profiting off of him selling CSAM, using that room to make the CSAM, abuse Maddie, take pictures of her, send the pictures of her. That room was set up almost bare. It was set up like a motel, all white, a white dresser, nothing on top, nothing on the sides, set up with a camera, a giant bottle of lube, and a 9mm. So if someone steps out of hand, you say, "Hey, I got a gun right there in the top drawer. Oh, I also have my giant bottle of lube for when things get dry." I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. There's a huge bottle of lube, nothing on the dressers, nothing in the dressers except some boxers and a phone holder to film him abusing Maddie. So, is she directly involved in selling CSAM? That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about him selling CSAM and her profiting off of it secondhand, so to speak. We don't know what she was involved. We don't have anything, or she would be arrested. Yeah, very creepy, but it looked like that. Go back and look at the pictures. There's nothing in there except a phone holder, some lube, a 9mm with the clip, or with the holster, obviously the clip, boxers, and the bed was just, it was set up for in and out.
Play board games and all that stuff. Is he like, what else does he like to do for fun?
Yes, Cinder.
He's a collector. He collects.
Play sports or anything like that?
No, he collects games and hobbies. He collects, you know what Tamagotchis are?
Mm-hmm.
Tripod, yes.
He's got so many of those. Digimons, lightsabers.
Does he like to go camping? Does he like to go to the beach or any of that stuff?
No, the beach makes him self-conscious because he doesn't like how his body looks.
Because he's a fat ass.
He calls himself flappy. But
3 belly buttons.
No, he's not an outdoorsy person. He doesn't play sports. He doesn't like the beach. Okay, he used to. Okay, this may be relevant. Back a few years ago, I used to own a scooter, an electric scooter, and he owned something called the one wheel, which was like a kind of like a scooter but with one big round wheel in the middle.
Yes.
We would take that and ride around. The Kissimmee Trail connects back here.
Mm-hmm. All right, there she goes about that Kissimmee Trail.
Man, Stephan Sterns, he
Wait, what happened here? Did it go back
He
to that?
epitomizes lazy among some other choice words that we could mention now, but we are going to get to all of that. So let's just talk about the one wheel. You know, why walk when you can?
Okay, before we get into that, yes, Jack Stormo, you're right. You guys can picture it now without seeing it. Stephan Sterns had 3 belly buttons. It was just 1 belly button, but the other ones were from the surgery. And yes, the people that saw Stephan Sterns, Pinky Winky, all said it was gross and it looked like a cactus. It had appendages off of it, so to speak. So I don't know if he had skin tags on his penis that had a pink spot on it, but it had appendages off of his cactus. So imagine Maddie had to suffer through that. Even the people that saw the pictures of Stephan were grossed out. Yeah, he probably did have warts. I don't know what he brought back to that. When Jennifer Soto was questioned, there's a gun in the house, she said yes in room 4, the same room she sent Maddie to sleep in. She should, but she didn't. In Florida, I believe it's okay to have a gun like that. It's okay. That wasn't technically Maddie's room. That was the room with the 4 locks that was set up with the tripod and lube. So yeah, you can't. Sorry if you were eating, folks.
Just stand on something and have it do the work for you. If you're Stephan Sterns, because you don't care to work, for any reason in the world. Oh my gosh. So, this one wheel here, this is what it is. And, they basically range in price. Even when used, I was finding from the very lowest point around $700 up to about $3,000. So yeah, instead of just using your own 2 feet, which is free, Stephan Sterns needs an expensive, frivolous toy so he can be lazy and gluttonous. And then, he has this collection of Tamagotchis, and somewhere it was said that he has 200 to 300 Tamagotchis. Now, I understand apparently they are collector's items. One of his childhood friends who did an interview with Gray Hughes Investigates, kind of defended him. Now, this guy owns a video store out in Colorado. So he was sort of defending it to Gray Hughes, saying, it's kind of like a baseball card. It's like you collect them, but they range anywhere from $50 to the, several $100s in upward range, depending on what Tamagotchi is. And now, what is a Tamagotchi? Is an electronic pet.
Next, we have the Tamagotchi for You. This was released in 2014, I believe, and this was one of the color Tamagotchis that was not very popular, and that is because they changed the growth of the character. So usually there would be a teenager stage when you run your Tamagotchis. They completely.
Now, I do want to talk about the Tamagotchis real quick, because Tamagotchis, she just said it goes to a teenager. Tamagotchis, you kind of take care of them and you raise them and feed them so that your animals don't die. So that was a good theory that Grizzly had about maybe the coins were for, their children that they had on the Tamagotchi game. And when I say they, I mean Stephan and Maddie. He would buy Tamagotchis for Maddie, and then he'd post them on his Instagram and say, oh, I bought this Tamagotchi, but I had to give it to my girlfriend's daughter because it was pink and whatever. But he always bought gifts for her. He showered Maddie with attention. I wouldn't call it love, but he showered her with lots of attention, as we see in every single person, every picture that we saw. Stephan was pining over Maddie. Let's be real. All right. Yeah, he was a collector, and they're expensive. When you hear about that, it's crazy. And I don't think he didn't get rid of the 35,000 thinking he may get away with this. It was a warehouse. It was a warehouse. And I wish Jenn would have been implicated in any of it. Another thing about that, someone mentioned, and I appreciated that, was that room was unidentifiable. If you look at the pictures in the background, the way it's set up, it's like an unidentifiable room. All you can see is a white dresser, a bed, nothing that stood out to say that's Jenn's house or that's Stephan's place. Thank you, Chick, for the one Guilty of Crime membership. I have 524 people in chat, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. All I ask is that you hit the like button and help us sister out. Thank you. Crime Junkie says, why are you so sure Maddie wasn't pregnant when there isn't any evidence? She had her period before she was taken at the end of February. She was. I'm so sure because, number one, I've been told by family members that she wasn't, and they're the only ones that would have documentation about that. Number two, I have brand new audio that you've never heard before, that her friends say she started her period at the end of January. So she was due at the end of February. I highly doubt that getting two different sources that say that. And again, Crime Junkie, I'm more convinced because when you hear something from the family, you gotta take it with 2 grains of salt. So you guys could be, I'm not trying to make up your mind, Crime Junkie, or anybody else. I'm not trying to tell you I'm right. I'm wrong many times. I'm just telling you, have your opinion and I'll give you mine. All right. So that's why I just gave you 2 reasons. Itchy Withers Horse Rescue just found you, liked and subbed. Love the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Could she just be saying she got it? Lucky she could have. You guys, all of you guys, I know it's letting everybody down when I say I don't think Maddie was pregnant. I don't know why people are so hell-bent on her being, but I don't want to take the hope away from you that she was until the paperwork comes. But Monday, just come to my show and listen to the audio where her friends say that she in fact did start her period. Please at least hear me out. And then if you don't believe it, you guys can, carry on until we get paperwork.
Remove that on this Tamagotchi. Instead, you now have 2 adult stages, and people really didn't like that. And also the content on this is apparently not as interesting, and they removed a lot of features. Usually with Tamagotchis, you get a set number of characters that you can transform into. But with these Tamagotchi mixes, you can actually marry different characters. And the offsprings that you get from the married Tamagotchis will have features of both the mum and the dad. So once your Tamagotchi connects to the phone, you can see it on your screen, which is really cool because then you can see it bigger. So you just go visit the park. mine is already an adult, I can have him, I think he's a boy, I can have him married to one of these people. And all these characters hanging out in the park here are players from all around the world that are currently on the app as well. And say, for instance, I find this character to be really cute. I can click on him or her. I can.
And remember, Stephan Sterns and Maddie were playing video games with each other many times throughout the day. So she had an app, he had an app, and I believe that was control. I think it was a controlling thing that he was on her games with her, that he could see who her friends were, that he, no matter even if he wasn't staying at the condo, that he would say, hey, get on the game. Let's go and instead of FaceTime, whatever, Google Meets, FaceTime. I think he wanted to control her all the way around, and even when he wasn't there. Now, I don't think Stephan Sterns has any prison buddies. He's all by himself. He's all alone. Your content with the family yeah, that's all good. Love you, Tracy. Good to see you. Happy Friday. And yeah, all of your opinions matter. If she was pregnant, I don't think he or they would unalive her, as they know she was found. They would know and check paternity. So our whole methods see more. Me too. That's what I think. But until we see it, then hey, who am I to kill somebody's thoughts or ideas on the motive? I'm just saying what I think, and I respect all of you for what you think. He FaceTimed her constantly. Yes, that's what I come back to. Why didn't Jenn see her phone? Why didn't Jenn see his phone? She let that guy sleep with his daughter, but she didn't. All she had to do was check his phone. All she had to do was check Maddie's phone. All she had to do was look at Maddie's homework. My daughter's 10, and I have to look in her backpack at her notebooks every day. Why didn't she look at her backpack like that? It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, and Stephan was immature. The roommate, the CM that I talked to, said that he would sit there and play video games all day when he was awake, or he would paint.
Like the character or propose to it.
Clearly, Tamagotchis are something that would attract children. There are new Tamagotchis, and this is very much a child's game. And apparently, with this interaction option with the app, you're actually able to interact with other people that are playing Tamagotchi. And, you know, a lot of those people demographically are children. So was this just another of Stephan Sterns' way to meet and try to control and abuse and exploit children? Then there is Warhammer. We hear his mom talking about sitting in his room and painting his figurines. Basically, that's all that he.
Do you guys remember that Stephan Sterns was on forums giving girls advice about pregnancy issues and about just giving them advice? He was giving young girls advice. When we've gone back and done deep dives into his social media, that's what he was doing. He was on there telling them what to do, telling kids. So he obviously had some kind of outreach with other children, because he also had other CP. There were other people in that. Thank you, Jojo. You remember that? Yes, such a creep. He obviously, there was 35 or 135, whatever, 1,000 photos, and they weren't all Maddie. So I wonder how that's going to play out in court.
He did, and his friend Frank, who we're about to hear from, met him because they played Warhammer together. And Warhammer is also an expensive little hobby to have. The starter kits run from $197 to about $400 to get you going in your Warhammer habit. And I actually talked to somebody who's really into Warhammer, and he said he's easily spent thousands of dollars on it. And most people who play it are spending big money to, design their own. I'm not really sure why, honestly, but it's an expensive hobby to have. Once again, this is a very teenage-centered activity, preteen, teenage-centered activity. That's who it's marketed towards. And, well, you know, there you go. So we are moving towards looking into the Telegram information, I promise. I know that's what a lot of people are interested in hearing. But I first want to just hear very briefly from a couple of Stephan Sterns' friends from various points in his life. This first guy, Josh, he was friends with when he was a teenager. Josh actually lived with him and his family in Florida for a while. They've been friends, really ever since. And here he's talking about a time when, he had moved out to Colorado after he had divorced his wife, who, by the way, he later says that he found out Stephan was hitting on after they divorced, but that's a whole different story. And, just here's what he has to say, and it gives us some insight into Stephan Sterns.
Opened my own video game store here in Colorado, and he had told me that he was not working and needed work, and I was like, hey, come here, please come here. My employees are not great. I need help. And then he told me, finances for me to come there doesn't look so great, and I don't know how to cover these expenses. My dad said this, and all these, like, it just seemed like just excuses to stay where he was. But shortly after that, he did end up coming to visit. Him and Jenn had come out here to visit, and we hung out for a few days and took him on a couple drives around the area. And,
So how long has he known Jenn?
I'd say 8 years-ish.
Oh, wow, 8 years, okay.
Yeah, they've been together for a long time. And their relationship has always been like this on-off, on-again type relationship. So for me, it's just been on, right? Because they never really, from my point of view, they never really separated. Like I've heard in the other interviews that he had moved out, and but even still.
I do wonder what the relationship was like when he moved out. Yeah, that is GPI or GHI. We'll call it GPI. That was. I just wonder what the inside out or the internal talks were when Stephan moved out. Was it because he was paying too much attention to Maddie? Was it because Jenn didn't want to be with him anymore? What was it? And why did she give him access to Maddie, even though they were not together? In fact, for many of those years, they weren't together. And she said that she didn't even sleep with them for the last 6 months. It doesn't make any sense. But what happened? He almost reminds me of Charles Manson. Who reminds you of that? I don't know what I missed. All right, let's keep going. Ugh, Jenn.
But shortly after that, me and my ex-wife went to go visit them in Florida with my children as well. And we had a day at Disneyland. They took us to Disneyland, and we hung out all together at Disneyland that day. And that's before he had worked there. We've always been the nerdy kids.
So again, here, he says he took his friend, his wife, and all the kids to Disneyland for the day. And just looking at the price of tickets, that's going to be at least $1,000 for a day outing. And it's nice to take your friends out when they're in from out of town. But if you don't have a job, as this friend reiterated, and as all his friends reiterate, then how do you get that $1,000 for one day outing? So next, we're going to hear from a friend of him from, more recent time in his life. I think he says he met him about 3 years ago. This guy's name is Frank, and he would go over to Frank's house to play, Warhammer and smoke pot.
I met him playing, I got into Warhammer 40K at tabletop, like RPG game. And he was one of the people there, and I clicked with him right away because, he smoked pot, and I was like, oh, okay, I can have someone to, smoke a joint with and play some tabletop game. And after that, he was at my house. I mean, religiously, I would say every weekend. He was pretty normal around my house. I mean, he definitely had an Adderall addiction. There you go. He didn't eat much, that I remember, and he stayed up all night. He would wake up like way later than like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. So woke up 4:30, 5 o'clock. He didn't have a job. I always thought that was weird, that he didn't work, but he had money to buy all these like pretty expensive RPG games. When I first met him, he wasn't working at all.
Okay, that was 3 years ago? That was 3 years ago?
Yeah, when I first met him, he didn't work that whole time until he went to Kissimmee, moved in with Jenn, and they got back together because they had split up at one point. and then he moved back into his parents. I always thought that was really weird that he.
Most 3 years.
Yeah, when I first met him, he didn't work that whole time until he went to me, moved in with Jenn, and they got back together because they had split up at one point, and then he moved back into his parents. I always thought that was really weird that he lived at his parents, woke up whenever he wanted, but had money to buy these expensive Warhammer stuff. I was like, this doesn't add up. His parents giving him money. I didn't really know. Also, when he came back, I mean, he lost a drastic amount of weight, like drastic. Like he looked sick. And I was like, dude, what happened? And then found out he got his Adderall dosage boosted, and he just.
All right, so that is important about that, but I do want to stop and say that well, he didn't work because he didn't have to work. His parents supplied money. He worked at Disneyland when he needed to, and then he went to Jenn, and Jenn provided him with the place to stay. And I think they were mutually beneficial to each other. But I do think that she held the cards and she was the puppet master of the situation. I think that might come out sooner or later when Stephan says, when he does talk or when trial comes, that Jenn was more heavily involved. And I don't think he's just implicating her because he doesn't want the death penalty. I think he's going to say, I really loved Maddie. I didn't want her gone. Her and Jenn, he said this before, that Jenn and Maddie had a toxic relationship with each other. They'd fight a lot. And he'd step in. So he always played he was the common ground for them. And they'd fight, oh, don't worry, I got her, honey. Don't worry, Jenn, I'll take care of her. I don't know how far back the 35,000 images went. Well, I do know that Maddie being abused, I know when that started, and that was in end of 2019, early 2020. So that's how far back it went for the Maddie abuse. Although I believe that he was heavily grooming her before that. As we see her on his shoulders in the pool, she was definitely younger than 9-10 years old. She looked like 6 or 7 there.
He just wasn't eating, and I don't know if he was abusing it. I know there was days he would take it, days he wouldn't take it. He would call off work some days.
Exactly.
He would tell me, from Disney. So I don't know if he was up all night, up all day, and then missing work, or if he chose to call out of work because he wanted to be with Madeline.
Okay, so as a behavioral therapist and working with young people, several of them, and many of them throughout the years for certain, who take Adderall, I do know that, doctors, especially for an adult, are not going to be prescribing a high enough dose. In fact, they can only legally prescribe such a high dose because it's a highly controlled substance, that's going to make somebody lose weight drastically.
I do want to say I can't wait until we do hear about the toxicology and the medical examiner report. It will come out at some point, the Maddie information, even though she is a minor. I'm sure it's going to come out. We shouldn't have known that her cause of death was strangulation, and we do. But when they look at her toxicology and they see high doses of sleeping medication, but maybe she didn't take her Adderall, maybe they were taking her Adderall and using it themselves. So it's going to be really eye-opening when we do find out what exactly was in Maddie's toxicology report. And if the question of the century, was she pregnant?
Like that. Now, also, his friend Frank here is saying, I don't know if he was abusing it, indicating to me that he believes he was abusing it. Also, the behavior that he is explaining here is, and I'm just speculating, but I feel pretty certain about it, is the behavior of an addict. So if he was addicted to this drug and he wasn't getting enough from his doctor to fulfill his addicted needs, then he was buying it off of the black market, and it is expensive. Funding an addiction to that substance to the degree that I believe he was addicted would be very, very expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars a month easily. So there's another place I speculate Stephan Sterns was spending a lot of money, but he did not have any coming in.
I want to go back to the medication that Stephan on Saturday asked you if you had any medicine to calm his anxiety. Did he have prescription medication that just wasn't filled, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't have any medicine to take to Kissimmee?
No, not that we're aware of. And one of the things I was pressing hard with Stephan when he left Disney, I said, talk to human resources to get your insurance coverage after you leave, because you need it for prescriptions. And so up until 2 weeks ago, I'm assuming he had enough medication to get him through, but he needed some medication. So we're trying to get him back on insurance, which I did. And then there was a waiting period of a few days that we were supposed to call in and then arrange to get his prescription filled. He contacted the doctor, supposedly, because I told him to, and there would have been a prescription waiting for him, but it never got filled.
Okay, so this whole story here is very suspicious. I mean, Stephan.
Yes, what's up, Deception Detective? Yes, guilty of crime and what's the obsession? I can't wait till she sees this. She's been wanting me to react to it. Hello. I've got a good collaboration coming up very soon with Deception Detective. He's got some good new content. Great content. What am I saying? Go check out his channel. We love Deception Detective. And for you ladies, I know he's eye candy. Yes, DD, I said it. I don't know if you're married or single, but it doesn't matter. We can still look anyway. All right, let's keep going.
Sterns asking his dad if he has anti-anxiety medication, which he could have been addicted to. Benzodiazepines, highly addictive. And then what he's describing here with his lapse of insurance, there was a waiting period. There was supposed to be medication waiting for him, but there really wasn't. This is all very suspicious. And in my professional opinion, is a sign of somebody addicted to prescription medications playing those games. Is this a missing piece of the puzzle? Did he go back to Jenn's place in Kissimmee because he knew that there he would find Adderall? Guys, Maddie was taking that. Hydroxyzine. Although it's not a benzodiazepine, it is a very powerful antihistamine and anti-anxiety medication. Stephan Sterns could have been so desperate for his fix of what he needed because he was addicted to it. He was going to go there, take Maddie's medication. Could it be the motivation for everything? I don't know about that, but I mean, people get desperate when they're addicted to drugs and they do not have them. This is a very serious consideration that's been largely overlooked.
Gotcha. Okay.
When did he start taking prescription medication? Do you remember?
He started taking Adderall when he was a child.
No, let's clear this up. Rhino Ram Goose. I absolutely am not saying it could be. I'm telling people that are not happy about me saying that I have new audio that says that Maddie started her period and it would have been due again, but she got her life taken. So that's reason number 2 why I ruled it out, that and getting a phone call from advocates and the family. So I'm not taking it back at all. I think you missed part of the conversation. I said, if you think that she is, then go ahead and think what you think until you see paperwork. So anybody that's been in chat the whole time, please let them know that I didn't say that it's a possibility. I said, if you think it, then you must have missed it. I said, think what you think and then you can see. I never said, I said I would bet my car keys. I would bet my only car that I drive that she's not pregnant. So yes, and I ruled it out because I got a phone call from the advocates, from the family, and now I have new audio that says otherwise as well. So no, go back and listen, and then you'll see. All right.
I mean, he has a TBI, and so he was on an IEP through school, individual education program. He went to special classes. He was hit by a truck when he was 8, hit in the back of the head with the bumper, run over his torso, and then the guy heard everybody screaming, put the car drive and drove back over and got him in the front of the head. And then, so he.
Well, how long has he been seeing the psychiatrist, psychologist?
Counselor there?
Yeah, counselor.
About 4 years.
So she was prescribing medications for him at least 4 or 5 years ago, whenever he started going to counseling.
So when you last saw him on Saturday and he's having this episode, the next time you see him is Tuesday night, going into Wednesday?
Wednesday morning, 2:15.
Early in the morning.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Change in his demeanor? I'm assuming was different.
Just very stoic, no emotions. Again, I'm attributing to maybe medication he's taking and the fact that.
Where would he get that medication? From Jenn if he was going to take it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But why don't you email me, Foxy Amazon? There are no names on it or anything, so let's talk about that. I'm not playing it yet, but nobody's gonna recognize. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Why don't you email me guiltyofcrime@j@gmail.com. It's only one friend that talks about the party. No names are named or anything like that.
I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I have some meds here you can use."
And then the fact is, we're now looking at early Wednesday morning, now going back to 5 o'clock. Well, actually, even sooner than that, since he knew the two events. So from that Monday afternoon or sometime Monday all the way to Wednesday early morning, I don't know how much sleep he's had. I know he's been under a lot of pressure, obviously, from questioning and interviews and what have you. So I didn't expect to see much of him, much other than just being somewhat stoic, kind of zombie, out of it.
I'm so sorry about this, but I'm going to have to read you the rest of what Stephan Sterns' father, Chris, said here because I keep getting blocked from posting this video due to fraudulent copyright claims for the next 20 seconds of his statement. So I'm really sorry about that. So Stephan Sterns' father, Chris, goes on to say, and when I left him in his room, he was sitting in a chair. And in fact, I remember hearing a comment with Jenn when I was talking to them. They were driving over to the hotel and she's yelling at him to wake up because he's sleeping in the car. And when I left him, he was there sleeping in the chair. He looked like a guy who was going to pass out. And he drove down to Northport and back, shocks the shit out of me. The guy was like out of it. And where he came up with all that energy to do that, and then he came back to the hotel room and he's got an energy drink, he immediately crawls back in bed and he is dead to the world. Based on, everything we know in this portion of this interview, I believe that Stephan Sterns was a man who desperately needed money, who needed these medications that he was addicted to, and obviously had all sorts of problems.
Absolutely. And I hope charges come down on Stephan Sterns for this. I really hope some charges come for him selling these. Now, they're going to be able to look at his transactions, whether he was trading in Bitcoin, because that's nowadays people are, I don't know what's going to be released if they don't go to trial. It may be like the Watts case, but I hope that they look at Bitcoins, Venmo, Cash App, and all the app sources. And for the people, I love trolls. You guys are giving me likes and you're giving me views and everything. But yeah, whoever doesn't like my commentary and you want your narrative to be out there, well, you can go start your own channel, you guys. So if you don't like it, just go hit record on YouTube and start speaking your stuff, and then I'll go on there and I'll comment. So yeah, how about that? Thank you guys, though. You're giving me lots of views and lots of all that. So keep it going.
So when he did have money, where was it coming from? I think that he probably found himself in these situations before where he needed a lot of money really quickly. And how did he get it? Because as we've well established, the man did not work, period. Which brings us to Telegram. Okay, so Telegram. So why are people...
Oh, she's going to break this down for you because Telegram is very untraceable. Yes, Stephan Sterns was a pervert, but Telegram was made for that, but it wasn't made for chomos to do chomo things. It was made for businesses to be able to do transactions like let's say the military or somebody that doesn't want anything involved. And yes, PEDO, C Broad, yes, he is. But YouTube doesn't like that. And yeah, we're going to break it down right now. All right.
Even talking about Telegram as it relates to this case. Well, I'm actually going to play you a clip from the channel Gray Hughes Investigates, and I'm going to leave a link to his channel and to this particular video in the description box. About 2 weeks ago, Gray Hughes put out a video entitled New, with Stephan Sterns making money online. And he tells us here why Telegram has become relevant to this case. And it sounds like he was one of the people that kind of figured this out. So I just want to give him credit for that. So let's listen to what Gray Hughes has to say here.
Early on in this case, an individual online came across this. There's a website where you can search.
Now, none of us support Gray over here. This is exclusive information, and Kelly put it into this. So I think we've all seen this before, but I'm not promoting this stuff at all by any means, just because I used to. And I actually got blocked on this channel. So I couldn't if I wanted to. I got blocked for saying just asking a question. So for those trolls that say they can't ask the question or people have their own opinions, at least I'm not blocking you for being a troll.
And where people have been, etc., on social media. And they came up with this right here. Now they contacted me and we verified it because that time code right there, the 44905, we weren't sure if that was the local time of Stephan Sterns, or is that just a standard time, like GMT time, something like that. And it turns out that's exactly what it is. That time never changed. So the person I was communicating with lives like 3 or 4 time zones away from me, and they have the same time that I got using the same app. So it was 44905 GMT time. But if you account for the 5 hours off, it's -5. You have to take off 5 hours, and it makes 11:49 p.m. on the 25th. So see how it says the 26th right there? It's actually 11:49 on the 25th, and that's the night of the party, and that's the night that they were sent upstairs. But remember, they went upstairs at 11, and look at this, at 11:49 p.m., just 49 minutes later or so after they were sent upstairs, Stephan Sterns and Madeline, Stephan Sterns is on Telegram. And what is he doing on Telegram?
Well, Gray Hughes definitely nailed the important question there. But before we explore that question, let's just take a look at Telegram and the history of Telegram a little bit. Okay, so as I tried to research the app Telegram relative to this case,
policy that Telegram
the only information I found out about it, I felt like
which said
got it
if
maybe a little bit
Telegram
wrong,
receives a
thinking
court
that
order that
Telegram was like
confirms
this
your
new.
I don't know why I think she messed up here. Sorry about that. I'm playing double audio.
terror suspect, we may disclose your IP with current data. At least that's what it tells you if you try to use it. So my guess is there's probably a backlog of transparency reports that need to be published here in this chat room. Users are connected to some type of VPN because everyone in your mother knows now. But anonymizing your phone number.
End-to-end encryption messaging apps commonly used to report illicit and illegal activity on their app service. Perhaps one of the ways we can understand the privileges, so to speak, that some telegrams were utilizing in Telegram is to understand why the people who are using Telegram are so upset about the recent changes that have been made in the company policies after Durov was arrested and clearly someone else took over. The following information is from a channel called Mental Outlaw, and it's from just 2 weeks ago. And the video is entitled Telegram Will Never Be the Same.
Just the other day, there was an update to Telegram's privacy policy in section 8.3, Law Enforcement Authorities. It now reads, if Telegram receives a valid order from the relevant judicial authorities that confirms you're a suspect in a case involving criminal activities that violate the Telegram terms of service, we will perform a legal analysis of the request and may disclose your IP address and phone number to the relevant authorities. If any data is shared, we will include such occurrences in a quarterly transparency report published at this Telegram link.
International authorities are cracking down on Telegram and messaging apps like it, clearly, as noted by the arrest of Pavel Durov. And, well, people that rely on using these apps are upset about it. Let's hear about Telegram. This is from about a year ago, and how this channel creator rates Telegram, as far as privacy goes, with other sort of secret messaging apps.
Telegram collects far less data than the other apps we've discussed. The only thing they will disclose is that for confirmed terrorist investigations, Telegram may disclose the user's IP address and phone number. No messages, no address books, nothing. So what I do like about Telegram is that while you need a phone number to sign up and create an account, you can create a username once your phone number has been verified. This means that if you want to chat with someone or join a group on the internet, you do not need to give out your phone number. Now, some downsides I see with Telegram. The first is that by default, chats are not end-to-end encrypted. The only chats that are end-to-end encrypted are secret chats. The cloud chat feature does store the messages encrypted in a decentralized manner, which also includes storing decryption keys in a separate place from the data according to their FAQ. This means part of your messages are stored across the globe in various data centers in different jurisdictions, which should make it near impossible for any one country to request data. They also state in their FAQ, to this day, we have disclosed 0 bytes of user data to third parties, including governments. From what I understand, the same type of distributed encrypted storage applies to group chats and channels as well. My concern comes with the fact that while things are currently stored in a secure manner, the ability does exist to decrypt your chats using their cloud data from multiple data centers across the globe, theoretically. In all honesty, a lot of companies rely on these super unlikely situations for security.
Now, I don't think I wish they wouldn't have made this for the public. I mean, I think that I wish there were a criteria. I wish there were a criteria for something like that where you can't get into it, or, I mean, you can't see things, but there can't be, because that would take away our rights, right? Right? That would take away our rights if you couldn't send something to someone without the police officers being able to see everything that you sent, or your social security number, things like that, because we do day-to-day things that we don't want out there. But then you got bad people in the world like Stephan Sterns, and I wonder with Jenn Soto, I wonder if they ever, I mean, as far as I know, they haven't found anything that ties her to that, but they did have 4 phones. They took 4 phones into the evidence, and so why did they have a 4th phone? It was Jenn, Maddie, and Stephan, but 4 phones. So was that 4 phone, was the 4th phone the one that they were doing business on? And why I say they both had access to it, I'm not sure. All right, let's listen.
And most of the time it does work. As the saying goes, security through obscurity. The problem with relying on this method is that it works until it doesn't work.
And with the arrest of Durov, it seems that perhaps we have reached that place where it doesn't work. It works until it doesn't work. So I want to read you some information from this article from Forbes cybersecurity section entitled "The Wiretap. Telegram is full of AI generated and real child abuse photos, but is that enough to arrest the CEO?" Damn, I hope it would be. In recent days following the arrest of CEO and founder Pavel Durov, attention has turned to the darker parts of his Telegram platform. For years, Telegram has become home to some of the worst content imaginable. Just this week, Justice Department charged Army soldier Seth Herrera with possession and transmission of CSAM and for using unspecified AI tools to generate such images. According to the criminal complaint filed against Herrera, he created his own public Telegram group to store his.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. And look at that. CSAM is being shared on the platform is what she's talking about. I'll read it, and then, because I'd rather read it. Prepaid and ditched. That's what I was thinking too. They happened to get the phone that Stephan gave to, that Stephan's dad gave to him. So that was the 4th. But yes, prepaid and ditched happens so often. And sorry about those double voices, y'all. That was on Kelly's part. I'll let her know that she's got some double talking going over there. Yeah, thank you. Biggie for life. We do see them, and it helps out the show. So yeah, so we're talking about Telegram right now, and according to the criminal complaint, I'll read that, filed against Herrera, he created his own public Telegram to store his CSAM and sent himself video files that include screaming children being raped. This is horrible. Law enforcement is now finding examples of Telegram groups where AI-generated CSAM is being shared on the platform. So they are looking into it, but they're not doing anything. Investigators told Forbes one current federal child exploitation investigator who is not authorized to talk on the record, said that there are entire chat rooms dedicated to nudify or fakes. You guys know about the deep fakes, right? Where someone posts a non-exploitive image of a child so someone else in the group can nudify it. As Forbes previously reported, such Telegram nudifier bots are rampant on the app and have been found marketed on YouTube before the site took them down. Ah, that's sick. That's sick. I wonder what Stephan did with his entire I wonder if that was his entire stash in that hard drive and then on the phone in the cloud. I didn't know about this either. I had no idea. And I think Stephan was taking pictures and showing himself in the pictures to make sure he let people know that he was the one doing it. Because many times they don't show faces, but they show identifying marks. And his identifying mark was it looked like a cactus. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit forward on this. Telegram neofighter bots. Jim Cole released Homeland Security. So I don't think they're ever going to get a real good hold on this. It says CSAM is present on almost every other major internet platform, from Facebook to Instagram to X. The difference with Telegram, however, is that it has been accused of failing to respond to law enforcement requests for the user data. And you know that law enforcement must have went to Telegram to find out why Stephan Sterns uploaded something at 11:49 the night that Maddie's life was taken. And it could have been her life could have been taken in the morning. So these pictures or whatever he put on Telegram could have been him performing or doing acts to her or with her, and then her life was taken later in the morning. So unlike Meta, TikTok, and many of the big social sites, Telegram has not tipped off the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children when moderators find CSAM. Even a mega encrypted storage service once ran by infamous anti-author Kim.com regularly supports law enforcement investigations by providing data and tips. All right, well, now we know where the chomos go. All right, let's finish this up. Thank you guys for being here. I had 600 and something people in chat. People are starting to head somewhere else. 556. Hit the like button on your way out. Even if you're a troll, show us some love.
Articles and the information that we've reviewed that can be, gotten away with using Telegram is CSAM, but also the exchange of DRUGS. So based on the information in this entire video, we know that Stephan Sterns may have had two reasons that would be made available to people using Telegram that you could not achieve using other messaging sites, and that is to possibly transmit CSAM for profit, and also maybe even to obtain, these medications that I believe he was so desperately looking for. But as the topic of this video indicates, we need to know, where did Stephan Sterns get his money? Because the man did not work. So only one of those two illicit activities that could be carried out over Telegram would be one that would actually make him money. And we all know what that is. So returning to the question, what was Stephan Sterns doing on Telegram at 11:49 p.m., just 49 minutes after Jenn Soto sent her daughter, Madeline Soto, upstairs to sleep with Stephan Sterns? What was he doing on Telegram then? We will continue to discuss this topic, and there will be more follow-up on this topic as I do further research. Please leave a comment below letting me know what you think about what Stephan Sterns was doing at that time.
All right, and we've been talking about that. There's a couple things that I'm sure he was doing because he had so much of that CSAM and he was apparently trading. I'm sure he was trading, because how would he get 35,000 images unless he was trading them, showing his identifying marks? Yeah, Kathy, you're a fantastic. Hey, trolls, this lady, since you disrupted her live stream, show her respect. Right? I don't understand people, but it's all good. We have fun here, but at the same time, we're trying to get justice for those who can no longer. Is there something like FaceTime on Telegram? Not that I know of, but I don't use Telegram. All right. What does Deception looks like without the hat and side profile? He is eye candy for show. Yes. Cactus Chomo. Yeah, so I think this is a good conversation. Foxy, I'm going to have to think about what about the voices and maybe go in a little bit higher speed. There's nothing that identifies, and I've already played interviews of people that don't want to be identified. So their voices aren't identified. There's nothing that would identify these people. So I'll have to think about that when you're talking about it's like a 16-minute audio of a Maddie friend. All right, it's all good in the hood, still respect, right, Kathy? We're in the guilty of crime hood, and we just hit 555. So perfect timing because the little angel is up there. This is the age, a little bit after where I'd say maybe a year and a half later that Maddie met Stephan. It's just so heartbreaking. It really is. Hi, Flower Girl. I'm glad you made it. Happy Friday and happy early Thanksgiving. No, I get it. Foxy, I get it. And thanks for bringing that to my attention. I will make sure there's no names on it, nothing that's identifying, because one audio, we had Frank on there and his wife came up and said, actually his wife texted me and I didn't even know her or him and said, hey, my husband's name was on there and his address wasn't redacted. So thank you. I will triple check that. I appreciate that. Yes, Artemis Prime, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Flower Girl. Thank you, everybody. It was an awesome night. I love you guys and the community of content creators that I have access to and that I hopefully will continue to work with. It does boil my blood. He destroyed her life, and the moment she met him, she was on that course to destruction, because I am sure he picked Jenn to be friends with because he wanted access to Maddie. I'm almost positive of that. Maddie's birthday money is gone. She was passed away, and Jenn pocketed that along with the $16,000. And I agree 100%, Foxy. I'm with you, and that's why I said exactly. Of course, those interviews were sold by the detectives and the police force sold those. So I'll make sure there's nothing identifying on them. Don't worry. And if you are worried, email me and I'll send you a copy so you can listen to and make sure there's nothing. You could triple check with us. All right. All right. So I love you guys all. Good conversation. Jenn was going to get Botox. She was going to, and she never did. Amber Day, thank you, Jay. Love this channel. Love your heart and your integrity. Thank you. I appreciate you all for the real Guilty of Crime crew. You know what's up. Do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out and go visit guiltyofcrime.com. There's some cool stuff on there. And I know you're not worried, Foxy, but I just want you to know that we've got it covered, and I'll triple check that those kids, there's nothing identifiable about it. All right. So thank you guys. Thank everybody that supported the channel, sent super chat, super stickers, gifted memberships. I will see you Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Clark, make sure you come to the members only live. We'd love to see you and everybody else. Ashton, I'd love to see you too. What's your prediction date on being convicted? Ooh, I'm not sure if they're going to use her as a witness and then convict her for something, maybe even 5 years. So if they're going to use her as a witness, it could be another 2 years. I don't know, but hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. Say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete and utter justice. And thank you, Boston Chica. See you guys Sunday. Have a wonderful night. Go hang out with the kiddos and whatever else you're doing. Good night, y'all. Love you.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of Crime.
Are you guilty?